Okay, we're going to be talking about the mid segment of triangles. So, kind of like the name says it all, the segment in the middle. So, before I look at the homework, let me show here what we're going to be doing. So, let's say I have a triangle. So, I drew my triangle there. And on the left side, let's say I was to find the point in the middle. So, let me say that's the point in the middle. I'm going to emphasize it's the middle because it's going to cut each side, the same. So, I'm going to cut it in half. So, that's why I emphasize is the middle. On the other side, let me find the point in the middle as well. I'm going to emphasize in the middle because he cuts each half the same way. So that's why he emphasizes the middle. So that's why we're going to call it mid-segment because it's the segment. So let me draw that segment made by the midpoints. Now, there's a few things interesting on the mid-segment. There's things about angles, but I'm going to discuss that in a little. One thing that I can see here is that the mid-segment is parallel to one of the sides. You guys can see the side at the bottom. Let me emphasize, painted it with green in this case, the mid-segment is parallel to one of the sides. Not only they're parallel, but the measurements have a relationship. I can tell that the mid-segment is smaller, and as a matter of fact, it is going to be half the length from the side that is parallel to it. So let's say, for example, I said the mid segment is 5, just to say a number. The mid segment is 5. The side that is parallel to it is going to be 10. Right? If I'm given the mid segment, I'm going to multiply by 2 to get the side. Now, if I'm given the side, let's say I also tell you the side is 10, I want you to find the mid segment. In that case, you divide by 2. So if I give you the mid segment, multiply by 2 to get the side. If I give you the side, divide by 2 to get the mid segment. Now, when it comes to angles, because I said something about the angles, when it comes to angles, if the angle at the bottom, let's just say it was, I don't know, 60 degrees. The cool thing on the angles is that the 60 degrees copies right there. It gets copied right there as well. The angles get repeated. And the idea from here is because we talk about parallel lines with a transversal, those angles are corresponding. So that's why they're the same measurement. Let's say at the bottom right, that angle, let's say, I don't know, let's say that one is 70. That 70 degrees repeats right there. So that's a cool thing that it happens on the angles. Now the triangle on the top, the little triangle, let me emphasize the little triangle by painting it yellow. You can find the angle on the top. And the way we can find it is, I know two angles, right? 60 and 70. If I was to add those two angles, I get 130. Now, if I subtract this from 180, because all three angles of a triangle add up to 180, right? 180 minus 130 is 50. I find out that the angle on the top is 50. So I can find the angle on the top. That's the cool thing with angles. So now on the homework, let's practice. Let's review with this. The first part, the way I'm going to start with this, it says in each triangle, M, N, and P are the midpoints of the sides. So I'm emphasizing I'm dealing with midpoints because I'm going to be dealing with mid segments. Name a segment parallel to the one given. All right, question number 1. Notice how at the bottom I have that MN is parallel to something. All right, let me find out where MN is. MN is a mid segment. And it's parallel to something. Notice how I'm calling parallel the two little line segments there. That's the symbol for parallel. So MN is parallel. I can see this side. So I'm going to say MN is parallel to VT or TV, right? The order of the letters does not matter, right? For sides, we use 2 letters, but the order does not matter. So MN is parallel to VT. That's it. That's all I got to do. Looking at question number 2. Something is parallel to GI. So let me see where GI is. GI is there. It's parallel to MN or NM, right? The order does not matter. So notice how in question number 1, originally I gave you the mid segment. and I want you to tell me which side is parallel to it. Question number 2, I gave you the side, and then you had to give me the midsegment. So we're reviewing that a midsegment is parallel to a side. Now let's take a look at question number 3. We're going to be talking about the length now. Find the missing length indicated. So we want to know how big is TV. It says find TV. Now let me see where TV is. TV is a side. Let me see the midsegment that is parallel to it. I'm going to ignore everything else. So there's some numbers in there that I'm going to ignore. I'm just paying attention to the side TV and the midsegment. Because I know the midsegment is 7, I'm going to say the side TV is 14. I just said a few minutes ago that if I give you the midsegment, multiply by 2 to get the side. If I give you the side, divide it by 2 to get the midsegment. So it's just as simple as that. The midsegment is 14. Now let's take a look at number 4. It says find RS. RS in this case is the midsegment. I know RS is parallel to the side VX. I'm just going to pay attention to the 2 segments that are parallel. I'm going to ignore everything else because the side is 22. The midsegment in this case is 11. If I give you the side for you to find the midsegment, divide it by 2. Now, to see if you understand what we're doing here, I'm going to start with something as solve for x. I just want you to pay attention to the midsegment and the segment that is parallel to it. So I'm paying attention to HI and the segment RP. Everything else I'm going to ignore. Now, the problem here is that both have an x. So what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to solve this, the midsegment, let me write 2x minus 10 for the midsegment. I'm going to multiply by 2. Everything on the midsegment times 2 equals, in this case, 3x minus 10. The midsegment times 2 equals the side that is parallel to it. The rest is just algebra. Let me separate them through the equal sign. On the left side, let me distribute the 2 to get rid of parentheses. That gives me the 4x minus 20. Remember, distribute the 2. Equals, on the right side, I have 3x minus 10. I see x's on both sides. So what I'm going to do, let me move the smallest x. So let me just call this negative 3x. My negative 20, let me move it to the right as a positive 20. Don't forget to use opposite signs. So on the left, 4 minus 3, that gives me 1x. On the right, negative 10 plus 20, that gives me 10. X equals 10. The instructions are solve for x. X equals 10. Don't forget that on my homework, you just type in the number. You don't have to type in x equals. Just type in 10. All right, let's take a look at number 6. We're solving for x here as well. So I'm going to focus on the midsegment. And then I'm going to see the side that is parallel to it. Everything else I'm going to ignore. The midsegment is x plus 12. I'm going to multiply everything by 2, right? The midsegment times 2 equals x plus 18. Let me separate them to the equal sign. The rest is just algebra. Let me distribute the 2. So I have that 2x plus 24 is equal to x plus 18. I see x's on both sides, so let me move the smallest x. Let me move the 24. So I have that on the left side, I have 1x. On the right side, 18 minus 24 gives me negative 6. X equals negative 6. So that's all we got to do, right? The midsegment times 2 equals the side that is parallel to it. Now, following the same idea, let's take a look at question number 7. Let's solve for x first. So I see that x is in midsegment is right there, x minus 2. And I'm going to pay attention to the side that is parallel to it. So I'm just going to say x minus 2 times 2. I'm multiplying the mid-segment times 2 equals x plus 4, the one side that is parallel to it. Let me solve for x. Just use algebra. Distribute the 2 to get rid of parentheses. So that gives you 2x minus 4 is equal to x plus 4. Let me move the smallest x. So this negative 4, let me move it to the right as a positive 4. I want x's on one side and non-x's on the other side. On the left, 2x minus 1x, that gives me 1x. On the right, 4 plus 4, that gives me 8. I know the value of x now. But in this case, I want you to use the value of x. I'm asking to find out how big is the segment HF. So looking at the picture, HF is the side. Well, we know for HF is x plus 4, but we know the value of x now. So I'm asking how much is 8 plus 4. All right, I want you to solve for x and then use the value of x. 8 plus 4 is 12. So that segment HF is 12. All right, let's pay attention to number 8. Let me solve for x first. I'm going to be paying attention to the midsegment and the side that is parallel to it. I'm going to ignore everything else. So the midsegment is 2x minus 11. I'm going to multiply that by 2. And this is equal to 2x minus 4. All right, let me use algebra. Let me distribute the 2 on the left side to get rid of parentheses. That gives me 4x minus 22 equals 2x minus 4. I'm going to move the smallest x. So let me move it to the right, opposite sign. So from the right to the left. So the negative 22, I'm going to move it over as a positive 22. Don't forget to do opposite signs. So I have that 4x minus 2x, right? 4 minus 2. That gives me 2x equals negative 4 plus 22, that's 18. To get the x by itself, divide by the number in front of it. So that gives me that x is equal to 9. So I know the value of x. Now the instructions here are find QR. If you see QR is the mid-segment. I know QR is 2x minus 11. So I'm asking how much is 2 times 9 minus 11. Right. Solve for x and then use the value of x. All right, 2 times 9 is 18. 18 minus 11, I'm just going to call this 7. So that's using the midsegment of triangles.